I prepared this encounter. It wasn't by chance, it wasn't a stumble. I heard the cry of your soul when you felt the ground opening up and the emptiness of loss invading your chest. I removed those who were delaying your healing, because I will never allow you to walk alone amidst the ruins of what has collapsed. If this word of mine is already beginning to calm the storm within you, leave a sign for me. Write below in the comments your name, the country, state, and city where you are receiving my embrace, and what time it is where you are. Let your soul cry out and write in the comments, Lord my God, I am here. I signed up because I love you and want to hear you. I sweetly ask you, sign up, leave your gesture of love by liking this message, activate the sacred notification bell, and remain with me until the last second. Because in the end, I will give a clear answer and whisper a phrase in your heart. Whoever writes this sentence will receive prophetic blessings released in faith. I know the sharp pain you feel when you seek solace and no longer see those who swore to stay. I feel the lump in your throat and the anguish that tightens in your lonely nights. You shed bitter tears thinking I had forgotten you, that love had failed you. But my beloved daughter, what your human eyes felt as cruel abandonment, I executed as the deepest and most protective deliverance. For it is written in the book of Proverbs, in chapter 16, that a man's heart may plan his way, but it is I who directs his steps. I needed to remove from you the roots that prevented you from flourishing. Your healing required clear space. It required that your strength return entirely to me. If this comfort has soothed your spirit, leave your sign of affection by liking this message. Join us permanently by subscribing gently and share this truth with someone who also mourns deep wounds in a true act of spiritual love. Before we continue our journey, may I ask you something? What does your heart hide that still trembles when you remember the absences? Release your soul and write below our word of faith for this moment. Deliverance. But there is an even deeper truth behind those who have gone, a crushing weight that I removed from your shoulders without you realizing it, a burden that if it had remained would have broken your soul forever. And that is exactly what I need to tell you now. I contemplate the profound weariness that has taken hold of your being in the last seasons of your life, that invisible weight that bends your shoulders and steals the breath from your lungs when the bedroom door closes and you are left alone with your thoughts. For many years you carried the pain, the frustrations, the mistakes, and the unattainable expectations of people who didn't know how to value the greatness and purity of your love. You tried to mend vases you hadn't broken, offering your sweetest smile while your own soul bled in absolute silence. I know every dawn when your chest tightened, trying to be a fortress for everyone, forgetting to tend to your own wounds. Listen to my voice. This weight was never yours. This guilt doesn't belong to you, for it is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 22. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. I collected every tear you shed taking on other people's struggles, often accepting crumbs of affection in exchange for your spiritual peace. In that dark scene where you felt your legs weaken from exhaustion, I was there. And now, with my own hands, I lift this heavy burden from you. I take your overload upon myself. Take a deep breath at this moment and receive the spiritual relief that descends from above directly to your exhausted heart. Your journey from today onward will be trodden on firm ground, and your steps will no longer stumble on the weariness of the world's demands. If this care has embraced your spirit, seal this moment by gently savoring this message. Feel inspired to subscribe to this space of light and share this prayer with a heart that also carries burdens that are not its own, as a true act of mercy. Now that everything has been said in this part of your journey, deep down in your truth, what was the burden of another person that you carried for the longest time and that almost suffocated your hope? Write in the comments the spiritual word that marks your liberation at this moment. Rest. Your soul now begins to breathe without these shackles, but there is a divine, hidden and mysterious intention behind all this sudden silence that has arisen around you. A work that I could only do if you were exactly where you are now, to deliver something that your eyes never imagined contemplating. In this moment of recollection, where false companions have been removed so that your healing can begin, I want to extend an invitation to you for profound intimacy and faith. If it is possible for your life today, and only if it is possible, transform this gratitude for celestial support into a seed of love for this work. For my love, and for the sacrifice of my Son Jesus, support this sacred space by accessing the link in the description of this message and pinned in the comments. There is fertile ground where your contribution of affection can be delivered and sanctified before me, the Creator of all things. You can support with any amount you wish. Always remember, give only what rests peacefully in your heart. I welcome it with immense love. The amount does not define the gesture, but the sincerity of your soul in offering, for what seems little in your eyes becomes abundance for the one who receives. And to all who contribute sincerely, I ask that you do not forget to register your name and city along with your gesture of love. For on the first day of next month, in a unique moment prepared with care on our Divine Love channel, the voice of God, your name will be raised to heaven and mentioned with gratitude through a special prayer. For it is written in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 10, "Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness." Every offering given in faith, even in the desert of your trial, is a precious seed before me, your Lord, and I assure you that none of them will fail to bear fruit. I see what you do in secret, and I reward you in the sight of all. Stay until the end of this message, because I still want to touch your heart with my voice. I behold the nobility of your soul and the pure desire to walk with me, illuminating the darkness wherever you go. I understand that sometimes, when trying to send your loving support, sudden blocks arise and banking systems prevent your contribution due to strict security measures. My beloved, do not let affliction or discouragement take over if this happens on the first attempt. I only ask that you contact your card issuer, confirming that this gesture of love is genuine and desired by you. Then try again with vigor, making your valuable offering again. Your support is the foundation that sustains this work, and will be honored with abundant and infinite blessings. Our divine love deserves this effort. And know something very special. I will make sure to thank you personally. If your intention is pure, whether your contribution arrives now or faces some setback, I myself will meet you in an intimate and welcoming email. I will speak directly to you. If you feel my presence restoring your faith, leave your affection by liking this message. I kindly invite you to subscribe to this spiritual refuge and share this encounter with someone who needs comfort amidst pain. Now, with your heart open to me, what was the biggest doubt that echoed in your soul when you found yourself without human support? Write in the comments our sacred word for this moment, seed. However, keep in your heart that this momentary emptiness is not a punishment. There is a grand and hidden purpose behind this silence, a reason why human doors have closed to you. And it is precisely about this silent work that I will reveal to you now. I feel the echo of the silence that so often frightened you. When the movement of life outside continued and suddenly you found yourself isolated in a desert of absences, your chest tightened with fear, and the cold of insecurity touched your soul. You thought the world had forgotten you and that, amidst so many losses, even I had turned my face away from your pain. But my beloved, listen with your soul to what I reveal to you at this moment. This isolation was never a punishment. It was the healing room of your spirit. Your restoration needed an environment where the voices of men were completely silenced, so that my voice would be the only one echoing within you. The noise of others' expectations, of harsh criticism and empty opinions, was deafening your faith and confusing your heart, already so wounded by life's setbacks. For it is written in the book of the prophet Hosea, in chapter 2, verse 14, "Therefore, behold, I will allure her, and bring her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. I needed to remove distractions and set aside false securities to have you entirely for myself. In the midst of the loneliness that hurt you and made you cry in the darkness of your room, I was building an invisible shield around you, stitching together each piece of your broken heart with the threads of my eternal and unchanging love. The spiritual desert you crossed was not the place of your end, but the sacred ground where you relearn to hear the beat of my heart, perfectly aligned with yours. If this truth calms the turbulent sea of your chest today, leave your sign of affection by enjoying this encounter of ours. Allow your soul to anchor itself here, gently inscribing itself, and send this message to that friendly heart that also suffers in the pain of misunderstood silence, in a genuine act of spiritual compassion. Tell me, now that you understand the purpose of the desert and the reason for the silence, what does your exhausted heart plead with me to help you endure the journey? Write our sacred word in the comments to mark this phase of your liberation, refuge. But it's not enough to simply understand isolation. Now that the noise of the world has finally ceased and you can hear my call, there is a mysterious and continuous gift that I have prepared especially for you in secret, so that your faith will never fade again when darkness tries to return. Now that the desert has fulfilled its purpose, and my voice is the only one that reverberates within you, I don't want you to walk again in fear through the cold and silent dawns. Your soul, which has already borne the weight of so many disappointments, needs daily nourishment, a constant remedy so that the wounds that have begun to heal do not bleed again with the afflictions of this world. For it is written, "The Lord's mercies are the reason we are not consumed, for his mercies never end. They are new every morning." If your heart desires to go deeper with me, I have left you a gift in the form of a journey, which I wrote with much love and care for all my beloved daughters and sons. The digital book, Devotional Divine Love, The Voice of God. It was prepared to accompany you day after day, in silence and intimacy, being your safe companion on sleepless nights. Access is also available via the link in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. It is a gift with all my love and care, where the only cost will be your love, your presence with me, and your faith. And when you feel in your heart that you should support and contribute to our work and to divine love, the support buttons are in the same links. And to shield our communication and protect our daily encounter, I have prepared 2 sacred and blessed havens, a group on WhatsApp and another on Telegram. Haunts. I ask that you enter these 2 spiritual homes so that our love and our daily contact will never be broken by anything in this world, through the same support and contribution link that you already know, in the description and in the pinned comment. If the storms of this world try to extinguish this space of divine love, we will remain unshakable, hand in hand, intact and blessed for eternity. There will always be a welcoming embrace for your prayers, and I will continue to guide your steps, speaking softly to your heart. In the groups with me, you can be in communion, requesting blessings, praying, conversing with each other, and also receiving my messages with much more intimacy and closeness. You are my greatest love. You are my divine love forever. I love you infinitely. If the promise of my daily companionship brings peace to your being, seal this moment by liking this message. I gently invite you to enroll in this safe haven and share this invitation with a soul that cries out for having no one to walk with, now that you hold my hand. Tell me, what is the truth that your soul most needs me to whisper in your ear every morning to give you strength? Write here in the comments the word that marks our unbreakable alliance from today onwards. Balm. But with your heart now comforted by our routine of love, there is a dark and very old place within you that your tears have hidden. These are deep marks of a past rejection that I am about to touch, to heal your story once and for all. I know the weight of those memories that you try to hide under lock and key, in the quietest place of your heart. That old pain of a broken promise, of affection denied you, and of rejection that echoed in your soul on days when you only needed a safe embrace to keep from collapsing. I know how that abandonment took root in your being, making you believe during so many cold seasons of your life that you were to blame, that perhaps you weren't good enough, or that true love and care would never reach you. I feel the chill that runs through your chest when the shadows of those old memories knock on the door of your thoughts in your most painful dawns. But listen carefully to my voice that now breathes life upon your pain. For it is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 3, "He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds." When the world turned its back on you and left you weeping on the ground of your greatest disappointments, I was already there, gathering one by one each piece of your shattered heart, Today my fatherly hands gently touch those wounds that still throb within you. I am sealing your scars with my infinite grace. The rejection of the past no longer dictates your identity. The abandonment you suffered is not your final sentence, but rather the ground where my restorative power is building your new strength. You are accepted. You are intensely loved by me. If my invisible embrace soothes the pains of your past at this very moment, leave your sign of love by enjoying this our conversation. Join our sacred flock, enrolling with all gentleness and peace, and share this healing with a friendly heart that you know also carries silent marks of rejection. And while you rest your soul in my lap, confide something to me. What was the deepest scar that life left you, and which today, with a sigh of relief, you finally place in my hands so that I may heal it? Write in the comments the spiritual word that seals your forgiveness and your renewal today. Scar. Your soul, now healed and cleansed, breathes again the freedom of my love. However, what will I do with all the years that crying, waiting, and sadness ended up stealing from you? There is a divine intervention being prepared precisely on the ashes of your lost time, a turnaround that will restore color and life to those projects you thought were dead forever. I see the dust that has accumulated over your most beautiful dreams. Those intimate projects, those old promises you kept in the deepest drawer of your heart, because life's storms convinced you that your time had passed. I feel the silent mourning of your soul for every joy that seems to have slipped through your fingers, for every year that anxiety, sadness, and hard waiting consumed your vitality. You look to the horizon and feel a deep pain, a lump in your throat, as if what remains of your story is only the lonely echo of what could have been. But listen with your spirit to what I declare about your destiny now, for it is written in the book of the prophet Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, I will restore to you the years that have been consumed. My daughter, I am not a God of unfinished stories. The time that suffering and pain stole from you has not been erased. It is kept in my hands to be returned with added glory. I am breathing new life upon the ashes of your disappointments. That which the world declared dead and buried by the weight of its age or its struggles, I am awakening with double honor. Your days of shame, scarcity, and lament have ended in the spiritual realm. Your spring has already begun to sprout beneath the earth, precisely where no one else believed there was life. If this promise of divine restitution makes your heart beat again with hope, leave your sign of faith, enjoying this moment of healing. I sweetly invite you to remain eternally with me, subscribing to this space of light, and share this truth with that person who also desperately needs to know that their dreams have not died. Now tell me, in the most intimate and sincere whisper of your being, what was the dream that pain made you abandon along the way, but which today pulsates again in your chest with my breath of life? Write here in the comments our word of victory to seal this new time. Restoration. Your most precious dreams have already received the order from heaven to be resurrected, but so that you may walk towards the materialization of each one of them, without your legs collapsing under the remaining weariness, there is a transfer of supernatural strength that I am about to pour upon your weary feet. I feel the trembling of your soul when you think you no longer have the strength to take even one more step. Discouragement tries to whisper within you that the journey has been too long and that your spiritual legs can no longer endure the walk to final victory. You feel a paralyzing exhaustion invade your chest, making you think of giving up now, right on the verge of your liberation, fearing you will not have the breath to see the dawn of your promises. But listen to my voice that now blows like a fresh and invigorating wind upon your deep weariness. For it is written in the book of the prophet Isaiah, in chapter 40, verse 29, He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. At this very moment, I am breathing my own divine breath upon your life. Where your human and limited strength ended, my eternal and inexhaustible strength has just begun. I did not sustain you through all these difficult seasons to leave you prostrate at the finish line. I am infusing your spirit with supernatural courage, a renewal that will cause your soul to rise and walk without looking back. If you feel this wind of hope lifting and strengthening your soul, leave your sign of love by enjoying this communion with me. I invite you to remain united with me continuously, gently enrolling in this spiritual refuge, and share this breath of life with someone you know is about to give up. Tell me, with your heart fully open before me. What was that moment when your soul almost succumbed to utter exhaustion, but an invisible and inexplicable force kept you standing? Write here in the comments our sacred word to seal this divine renewal in your life. Breathe. With your being now firmly grounded in my strength, your journey is about to reach the answer you so desperately seek. However, there is one last movement your soul needs to make. There is something invisible that your spiritual hands still grip tightly, and you need to release it at this very moment so that I can finally pour out the ultimate peace I have ordained for your life. I see your spiritual hands clenched tightly, holding on to control of situations that no longer belong to you. The fear that everything will go wrong if you are not vigilant consumes your peace and fuels your insomnia. You have tried to protect your heart and your future with your own strength, and that is why the weight of anxiety tightens your throat each morning. But listen to the whisper of my authority over your worry. For it is written in the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to give you peace and not harm, plans to give you hope and a future. I need you to empty your hands now. Release this invisible control. Release the fear of tomorrow. You cannot receive the abundant peace that I have already ordained for your life if your hands remain full of worry. Your miracle requires space. It requires total surrender and absolute trust that I am at the helm of your ship. If this command of love frees your soul from the weight of control, leave your sign of peace, enjoying this intimate communion of ours. I gently invite you to remain eternally sheltered in this sacred space, inscribing yourself with meekness, and share this liberation with a heart that is also suffocated by anxiety. Reveal to me in the depths of your being, what is it that you have been trying to control with your own hands, and that today, finally, you surrender completely to me. Write in the comments our spiritual word to seal this decision of yours today: surrender. As you open your hands and allow my peace to flood your heart, the spiritual landscape of your life changes completely. And it is in this exact moment of absolute surrender that I descend to whisper in your ear the definitive answer and the celestial key that will transform your story. I feel the calmness that now invades your heart, expelling all the affliction that tried to take up residence in your soul. This profound journey we have undertaken so far was not just a passing respite, but an eternal decree of healing upon your story. I gathered the pieces of your heart, removed the burdens that were not yours, and breathed divine strength upon your exhaustion, so that you might understand, once and for all, that your tears were not in vain, and that your waiting has an immeasurable reward. You withstood the desert, survived the silence of absences, and learned to hear my voice above the deafening noise of the world. And because your heart has remained faithful, listening to my every word until this very breath, I now give you the spiritual key that was promised at the beginning of our meeting. Take possession of this truth, engrave it on your spirit, and use it as an invincible shield against any arrow of discouragement that tries to strike you. The word I whisper in your heart now is, "I can do all things through him who strengthens me." Write this same phrase in the comments as your absolute act of faith, as your response to heaven and your total surrender to my will. By declaring this truth with your soul, you break the last chains of fear and assume your true identity. And do not let our communion cease here. I still have so many revelations to calm the storms that you have not told me. Continue to listen to my voice on our message list on this channel, and allow me to continue to guide your steps every day. Your pain has been transformed. Your tomorrow is already kept safe within me. Go in peace, my beloved.